Alrighty, we're in on round 4 of Grand Prix Whitecliff up against Split Moon on white-black control. I'm a little nervous about this matchup, uh, but opponent rolling 4 on the die is promising at the very least. This is definitely a matchup where I want to be the aggressor any chance I can get. But I also wanted to just kind of find moments to slip things through. This is actually a pretty great hand. I did mention just now that I want to be the aggressor and that this is a hand with no creatures in it, but I think this is actually really fine. Ominous Slaughter, not going to be something I play on the early turns, but I can go Path of Phoenix into Jack Monster Mentor, which is pretty good here. So let's develop a Temple of Origins and pass on back to our opponent. So the reason why I'm keeping Path of Phoenix Jack, despite saying that I want to be the aggressor, is that damage over time is intensely valuable in this matchup. Earthly Penchants is real bad. Oh no, not a turn 1 Earthly Penchants, please. All right. We're going to draw for our second turn, draw a swamp. We're just going to play the swamp and pass. Wait to see who my opponent integrates from, presumably integrating from me every chance they get. That is going to be taking a Miasmic Cove from us. I'm just going to pass this over to Split here. Let them put that on the Earthly Penchants. So Earthly Penchants needs 3 different card types integrated onto it to draw a card and lose 1 life, and it's going to integrate a card from presumably our library at their upkeep every turn. So this is going to be a very good draw engine for them to kind of bury us in card advantage over time. Dissect Intel. Ooh, not what we want to see here. Yeah, so they're going to get to take this Path of Phoenix here. Unfortunate. Yeah, they're on full 4 Dissect Intel. It is one of their best cards against us in the early turns. Taking Jack. Yeah, this that does make some degree of sense. Jack does a lot more damage over time uh, than Path of Phoenix does. Path of Phoenix is a very one-shot effect comparatively. We're going to keep our hand view open here just so we can keep track of what our opponent knows. We will draw Morbid Bloomer. And I'm just going to run out Swamp Path of Phoenix here. So opponent's going to discard 2, then mill 2. Believe opponent is just choosing. They're pitching a Malicious Sky Cleaver and a Contest Coordinator. So that's 2 creatures, as well as Temple of Origins, Earthly Penchants. So they're getting rid of 2 creatures here. It's pretty good for us, I think. Like, all things considered, that is 2 creatures that Ominous Slaughter doesn't eat up now. Getting rid of Contest Coordinator indicates to me that they probably have things in hand they would want to hit with Contest Coordinator. Going to pop up their graveyard too, because there are just things that are important there. And we're just going to ship on over to our opponent. They are going to take top card. It is a Chronicle of Extinction. Rough beats there, but that is because that is both a card we would love to have against our opponent, and it is also going to put Earthly Penchants online to start drawing them additional cards, which is rough when we were denied our consistent clock off of Jack. They have another Contest Coordinator, so that would explain why they pitched it, or they might have just drawn it here. Yeah, already kind of in a really dire position right now. So while opponent looks at things, they're just taking a plains. That's fine. Playing plains as land for turn. Nothing they can play off of the plains to my knowledge. We will untap, draw another land. Not really where we want to be here. We'll gain 2 off of that. Play forest, which they do not know about. And morbid, they knew about the forest, did not know about the Morbid Bloomer. And I will just pass on back to my opponent, holding up Ominous Slaughter in response to something coming down here, just as a way to pick off this Contest Coordinator. And I will, I want to pick off the Contest Coordinator, clear the way for Morbid Bloomer. They hit a Temple of Origins, which is fine. They could, they'll just integrate that onto the Earthly Vengeance. So our opponent is going to just be able to beat us on the hand game at this point. They're going to outvalue us in terms of card advantage, so we just need to fight them on other axes. Opponent is developing a Data Weaver. They are going to integrate 2 cards from the top of our library, hitting a Pull of Tizerus and a Primal Fissure. Pull, actually a little unfortunate there, but not like there's much we could do with that. So Data Weaver will allow them to play one of our lands as their land for turn. So they could play Temple of Origins as land, or they could develop the Primal Fissure depending on what they want to do here. I think Temple's better for them than the Primal Fissure. Yeah, they're going to develop the Temple. All right, and that is our Temple, notably. So just keeping that in mind on the off chance we end up blowing it up at some point. I think I am just going to Omen just for the sake of pushing something out of play. Yeah, predictably losing the Contest Coordinator there. So we will untap. We will draw an Inner Rings Pupil is nice. And then main 1, we will lose Path of Phaenax and fail on it because it requires 8 or more cards in our opponent's graveyard. So all they know about right now is the Swamp. Let's play that Swamp first so we can close this because they don't know the 2 cards in our hand. Let's go on over to combat and ship in for 3. Okay, they're going to take the blocks. On damage, I will pay the 1 to get back the Path of Phaenax. And then on main 2, I think I like just hitting them with the Path of Phaenax. No, I want to develop the Inner Rings Pupil. Develop the clock. Keep Graveyard popped out here. Pitching a Ley Shard from their hand. So we'll pass. Still an uphill struggle here. They're going to hit a Forest off the top of our deck. So one of the things that I'm struggling with in terms of figuring out my sideboard for this matchup is, on one hand, I think Smiling Sludge is, or not Smiling Sludge, Hungry Blob. Hungry Blob is great to pick off an Earthly Penchant, which is just, is a 1 mana Phyrexian Arena. It's kind of crazy this is a 1 mana Phyrexian Arena, and it has kind of just largely been glossed over, I feel like. This could be Chronicle Edict mode. Yep. So we lose the Inner Rings Pupil. They play Plains as land for turn, and we are in a whole heaping amount of trouble. We will untap and draw. Hit a Morbid Bloomer at least. So we can play Forest, Path of Phaenax once again. Hitting Data Weaver and Sinido from their hand. Pitching Sinido from their hand is concerning. And then they mill Swamp and Dissect Intel. That tells me they probably have a second Sinido. So running out this Morbid Bloomer probably just gets their Sinido activation. But I'm going to do it anyways. I think I want to just get the Morbid Bloomer in here. And then we'll pass. Part of why I want to develop this Morbid Bloomer in the face of potentially second Sinido is Sinido uptick, if I understand correctly. Oh, that's the second Jack. Oh, that's very rough. Part of why I want to develop the Morbid Bloomer with the potential of them having a Sinido in hand is that, if I understand correctly, Sinido's uptick removing abilities from permanents kills Sagas outright for the same reason that, yeah, there's the Sinido. For the same reason that, all right, yeah, and they're paying the ward. For the same reason that, like, Urza Saga dies to a Blood Moon in canon. We will untap. Actually, on upkeep, I could crack the Omen now to kind of fix what my draw is going to be. But if what I'm getting this turn is a Chronicle, then that's really awkward. Because if I see 2 cards I want to keep, I can't keep both because Earthly Penchants is going to eat one. This does give me a chance to see 2 cards, see one that I really don't care about, and feed the Earthly Penchant something deliberately. I think that's an acceptable chance to take. So we'll view top 2. 2 Temple of Origins. Yep, don't want that, so we're just going to ship both to bottom, unfortunately. And we will draw for turn. Uptick Path of Phoenix. So opponent goes to 12, I go to 24. And Omen is very well timed. I'm not going to give them a chance to activate Sinido here. I'm just going to Omen Sinido now. I would love to like try and hold up for a Dissect Intel here, but I think I just need to clear out their Planeswalker while I have a chance. Does leave us with a very interesting choice here on Path of Phoenix next turn on what we do with it, but we'll see what we draw. And we'll pass. Path of Phoenix does have a chance to really salvage us here because we can Path of Phoenix, exile a Sinido. That is the second Inner Rings pupil. We can Path of Phoenix, exile a Sinido, and just start stripping cards from them. Or rather than stripping cards from them, we can like uptick on Earthly Penchants and just lock out Earthly Penchants. But unfortunately, that's really awkward in the face of, say, a Shangfa, which could be coming as soon as this turn. Worst case scenario here is our opponent has the third Sinido, plays it, and just takes out Path of Phoenix here. We're probably in dire straits at that point. As it stands, though, you know, one of the things I was talking about, if we could apply early pressure, you know, our opponent's at 11, we're at 24. Like, our opponent's at 11, and that is without any creatures being able to really reliably attack them. You know, we swung once with a Morbid Bloomer, and it got blocked. So, you know, our deck is capable of putting them under fire. We just need the things that actually do that. Jack would be our best way of doing it, but they've hit 2 of our Jacks with Earthly Penchants, so we are in a teensy bit of trouble. Opponent is tanking a little bit here. Makes me wonder what they might be holding. But yeah, right now our opponent's in the driver's seat, and there's only so much we can do. We could, theoretically, if they like just put creatures in play, like Contest Coordinators or whatnot, we could Path of Phoenix and just take a Malicious Skycleaver, and just like drop a Malicious Skycleaver, clear their board, put a 4/4 flyer into play, because there's not really a lot that their deck can do to a Malicious Skycleaver besides playing one of their own. And, you know, at that point, we're screwed anyways. But, like, they could bring the house down a single creature, or Chronicle, I guess. Tapping 3. Oh, looked like that was about to be a Data Weaver. Playing Plains. And then, yeah, there's a Data Weaver. They take Primal Fissure and Swamp. Perfectly fine with them taking those off the top. Doing a quick land count. We're on 24 lands. We have 6 in play. They've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 12. Oh, yeah, and they just get to play Inner Rings people, and we take 7. Youch. That is kind of rough. But yeah, I'm just gonna take Malicious Skycleaver here, pay 3 life, and clear both of their creatures because that gets inner rings people into our bin as well. So I'm not gonna crack the Omen here. We get a Spiky as well, which is very nice. Uptick. Uh, Exile Skycleaver. This is their third Data Weaver, so they're going to be out of things pretty soon here. We'll pay 3 life. Just going to put things out of play. Notably, this also does decrease the impact of like a Sinido -3 if our life total is a little lower. They take Time-Worn Crags, which is a perfectly fine card to not get here. So 13 lands taken, 11 remaining in deck. Bring the house down on just their Skycleaver. Sure thing. Worst case scenario here is they have Dissect Intel to take away the Spiky. No. Okay, Leyshard is fine. Leyshard's perfectly fine. I saw them tapping too, and I had a little moment of panic. I'm going to hold off on cracking Omen on upkeep just because I think whatever I draw here, I'm fine with drawing it. Because... Okay, and that's actually great, because that gives us Spiky, like, eat an Inner Rings people and a Morbid Bloomer, maybe? Actually, maybe we Spiky and eat Path of Phoenix, and... Yeah, they're on 1 card in hand right now. Okay, we're actually in a really comfy position. Let's pay 3, cast Spiky. I think I like taking the Omen. No, I don't like taking the Omen, because if I can get a Morbid Bloomer in play... I think I'm just going to take both Morbid Bloomers here. We're just going to get both of these onto the Spiky and develop a Root Fossil. And we could crack here to kind of curate what they get off of Earthly Penchants, but I think 1 in 34 chance they hit the last Jack. That's really the only card I'm worried about here, as far as them taking. There are some cards that I would be bummed to see them get, but Jack is truly the like 1 disaster scenario. Alternatively, we could have just gone for Root Fossil, crack it, binning like 2 cards, or binning 1 card really, besides a land that we see. They will get another Root Fossil, so that's the second one. Very important we keep track of resources that we've seen. We haven't seen any Sporeback Jargahs get hit, notably. They're cracking Leyshard to draw an additional card after losing the 1. And this is kind of another thing that I meant when I mentioned, you know, we kind of do just want to put them under pressure any chance we get. Our opponent's at 9, and we have a 4/3 in play, and they do not really have a lot in terms of exile-based removal. There's a possibility here that this black is being spent on Chronicle of Extinction to edict our creature and then make us discard. Yeah, them tapping 8 mana here makes me think this is Chronicle. Yeah, Flashback Chronicle. I'm gonna let them tell me what they're doing, but I think I know what they're doing. Sack, discard. Yep. So these just stay in exile. That is unfortunate. And perhaps I should have recognized they had the Chronicle there. Maybe I could have hit it with the Path of Phoenix, but then I would have... I could have, like, edicted them, and then they kept the 3/3 and just chunked me for 10. Yeah, I kind of had to do what I did. I'm going to sack the Root Fossil on their end step. Surveilling 3. That's another Path of Phoenix. What if we do... Swamp to bin, Root Fossil to bin, keep one on top, and then Swamp to play tapped. So we've just got the Root Fossils, and then we pass, untap, draw Path of Phoenix, slam it. Nightmare scenario here is we mill another Chronicle. Well, there we go. Oh no, sorry, that Chronicle was in their hand. We milled another Skycleaver. We hit another Earthly Penchants. So they do have the second Chronicle on standby. But they do kind of have to use it because we can just Path of Phoenix take it from them. And like we're not in a great position as far as things that they can do to us with that Chronicle right now. So let's just ship on back to our opponent. They Earthly Penchants go to 8. Take a Morbid Bloomer. So that's the final one? That's the third one. Because they have not previously hit a Morbid Bloomer. They play Gates. That is a problem. That is a real problem. They pay 2. Oh, and that's 4 more. This is their third Skycleaver. Yeah, that's kind of bad. Let's sack the Omen here and scry 2. Pull and Jack. Oof. I would love to get Jack here, but I don't know. Okay, so just one of the things I'm reckoning with is this Gates does just guarantee we lose the game if they can ever swing with it. But they hit one of our two Time-Worn Crags. So we have like if we put this to the bottom, we have a 1 in 27 that we draw it. I definitely am not keeping the pull unless I'm keeping Jack as well, and I'm keeping Jack on top, because then I'm fine just letting them take the pull off of the Earthly Penchants. But I don't really think I'm in a position to just play Jack and downtick him, because I don't even have a creature in my graveyard to get back. And the only real mode that's good right here is the +2. So I need to just ship both of these to the bottom. And pass to my turn. We draw. Cityscape is not going to cut it. Yeah, they got me. Rough game. And that is the power of having a turn 1 Earthly Penchants. Like, they lost 4 life from 2 Path of Phoenixes. So they drew 8 cards? Yeah, they drew 8 cards off of that one mana card. Crazy amount of draw power. So the one thing that I knew going into this matchup is I wanted no pull of Tyzerus. I wanted the 2 more Chronicle of Extinctions. I wanted 2 copies of Forget Their Names. The struggle here is our opponent is on the Earthly Penchants as their only enchantment. Leyshard is their only artifact. They can flip Malicious Skycleaver into an artifact, but that's not often going to be how they kill us. Their sideboard, they can board in Soul Guide Lanterns, which is a relevant card against us, does have relevant text. Looming Psyhawk, not so much in terms of relevant text, like we don't really put tokens into play. But like Psyhawk is just a blocker that's pretty relevant. They could board in the 4th Skycleaver, they could board in Gentle Grasps, I could see them boarding in the Shengfaz maybe, or even their 4th Chronicle. Everything in their sideboard is somewhat relevant against us. But really, like, the only thing I can think of is maybe we want Hungry Blob, maybe we want Disestablishmentarianism because of how powerful Earthly Penchants is against us, how good it is, how good especially Disestablishmentarianism is at shutting off a Leyshard, how good it is at removing a Silver Scale Despo, if it ever flips, we do have to pay 7 life to remove it, but that is a way to remove it. And they're not often pressuring our life total, so 7 life is actually perfectly fine to lose in most cases. And it can keep boarded in Soul Guide Lanterns from activating. So I think I do want this Establishmentarianism. It's little narrow in terms of its functionality in this matchup, and it is very awkward with our Phoenix's Touches and Ominous Slaughters and Root Fossils. So that's something to be fully aware of here. That being said, though, I don't like Zar in this matchup. Zar is a good grindy tool, and there are a lot of things that Zar can do. Zar does pick off their Sky Cleavers, picks off their Planeswalkers, picks off Data Weavers. Pretty good at just cleaning up individual things, but I don't know if we really have the time to be wanting to just slam Zar on 5. I think we need to be, killing them by that point, or at least putting them under enough pressure that their draw engines aren't going to do enough, and they're kind of just out of gas. I don't know. I think Jack is really important in this matchup if we can have time to play him. Last game, we were just completely out of time. We needed to draw him several turns sooner. But unfortunately, the times where he was on top of our deck, they kept integrating him. Morbid Bloomer's great. Spiky's great. Jargah's great. Pupil's great. Maybe we do go down Spiky. Spiky is very resilient against their targeted removal and just the interaction they have on board, but it is very awkward in the face of Chronicle of Extinction, and is also very awkward in the face of potentially boarded in Soul Guide Lanterns. It's hard for me to say. This is a really tough boarding decision. I think, as much as I like Zar being able to answer some of their things, I think I just need to focus on lowering my curve a little bit. And maybe we only do 2 Disestablishmentarianism, or we go down a Root Fossil, maybe. Yeah, let's go down a Root Fossil and start there. Alrighty. Awkward opening hand, but this is Root Fossil into crack Root Fossil, into play second Root Fossil, crack it, and then we can forget their names, maybe? It's a little low impact in terms of momentum, but I think I want to keep this. Because it does develop a lot of mana and fill our graveyard very quickly. So let's just deploy the Root Fossil, hold the Primal Fissure, and we'll play Fissure on turn 2. Dissect Intel on their turn 2 is likely. That's another turn 1 Earthly Pensions. Good lord. Here we go. It starts early. We untap and draw. That is a swamp. Really would rather have that been a couple cards down. I'm going to Primal Fissure, crack, view library, get a forest, and let's crack this Root Fossil now. So we're going to curate our top card. Yeah, let's put forest to bin, move this to top, and draw the Disestablishmentarianism. So they're going to take a cityscape, and we're going to just develop a forest. And we'll pop out our graveyard. So have this cityscape free of charge. And we will draw Disestablishmentarianism. They have a Penchants into Contest Coordinator. Revealing Shengfa. Rough. Yikes. So we draw the Disestablishmentarianism we knew about. We could go Swamp, Disestablishmentarianism, just crack it on Penchants now. Or we could go Root Fossil, curate our top deck, and see if we can bait them into playing a Data Weaver. I kind of like that. So play second Root Fossil. Pay 2 to just pop it now. View 3. Rough beats. I think we're going to keep all 3 on top. We're going to let them take a Sporeback Jargah. No. We're going to let them take a Chronicle of Extinction. So we're going to do Path of Phalanx to top. Chronicle of Extinction. Above that. And the next turn we Path of Phalanx and can forget their names, and then we don't want them to take a Sporeback Jargah because they start drawing. So let's bin the Jargah, I think. And pass. So they should be taking a Chronicle of Extinction. All yours. We take 1. They pass. We untap and draw. We hit the Path of Phalanx. So I was a little worried if they went for Data Weaver there that we would have to be worried about them playing land Chronicle of Extinction next turn, and we would have to pop Disestablishmentarianism now. But instead, we are going to get to go for Path of Phalanx, take out 2 cards, and mill them for 2. Just pop out their graveyard now, and we're going to be hitting something with Forget Their Names. Kind of hoping they hit they've been a Shangfa here, because I would love to take a card we know is in their hand. They discard Malicious Skycleaver. Discard Swamp, mill Plains Chronicle. Perfect. Love to see it. Forget Their Names on Chronicle of Extinction. Whew. So that is Chronicle out of here. And now we're going to get to see their hand and their library. They're holding Sinido, Shangfa, Swamp, Skycleaver. Oh, that is rough that they're going to get to go Sinido next turn. Because it's going to get to pop Path of Phalanx. We do get to see their deck as well. So they did board in the Chronicle. They did not board in anything else, it looks like. They boarded in 2 more Shangfas. And they boarded in Chronicles. I'll have to take a moment to go over what they boarded out in a moment. Yeah, so we get to take out every Chronicle in their deck. And, you know, we can't get rid of them. And I'll gain 4 life from this as well. And notably, opponent does not draw a card from... Sorry, we have to juggle a lot of things here, because I do just want to have all of this information available to us, because this is a control matchup, and the control matchups, this stuff is very important. So Forget Their Names in bin, and we pass. So they are on the full set of Data Weavers. They take Primal Fissure, which does not draw them a card. Yeah, they're on the full set of Shangfas, full set of Sinidos. They went up a Skycleaver, because they had 1 in hand, 1 in graveyard, 2 in library. Yes, they're Sinido. So we knew about Swamp, we knew about Sinido. They're going to down tick, we each discard a card, which is interesting. They pitch Temple of Origins, we pitch Forest. And they're going to pay life to draw a card. We did not know about Temple of Origins in hand, so we can hide that. And we take 1. I'm going like deep on tracking what they do and don't have. We'll untap, draw. Draw the land is actually good here. So we will gain 2, deal 2. Play Swamp as land for turn. Disestablishmentarianism. Crack it, exiling Earthly Penchants. Unfortunately, this exiles it, so we won't be able to forget their names it. But the reason I'm doing this over flashing back forget their names is because this allows me to now surface a root fossil. Which puts a blocker in the way and something that they need to deal with. We can just ship on back. Now, this Path of Phoenix is going to go away here in a moment and yield no value for doing so. Reborn Lily may just eat their upticks for a little bit here. But we do get to flash back, or we do get to surface another one next turn because the Path of Phoenix is always going to bin. Plains as land for turn was not a known card. They pay 2, 3, for a Data Weaver. Ooh, yikes. They hit Morbid Bloomer and Swamp. Do not like that. They're going to get to play Morbid Bloomer here. Yikes, what a draw. Alrighty. We untap. We draw Forget Their Names. Path of Phoenix dies and fails. And we were just a little shy of being able to pick away the Shangfa in hand here. So what I'm going to do is just forget their names on the Skycleaver in their bin. And I'm going to close all of these extraneous windows. So all they have is a Shangfa and an unknown card. We gain another 4. Let's hide these Skycleavers in library. And then pay 3 for another Reborn Lily. So one unknown card in hand only lands in bin, so Bloomer only gets back a land, which is a little irrelevant with Data Weaver sitting on a land. And we pass and Reborn Lily resets. So if they hit an untapped, or actually no, they don't need to hit an untapped land. Data Weaver gives them the land for Shangfa, unfortunately. Man, that was a very timely Data Weaver draw, huh? It had to have been the turn that they hit the Data Weaver because we knew the other 2 cards in their hand. I guess they did have an unknown. They did hit a land as well. Yeah, they're choosing to attack before Sinido because this lets Sinido kill one of the Reborn Lilies. I think that's fine, honestly. Let's just get their Morbid Bloomer off the board here. I'm fine for trading that and accepting that Sinido is going to kill here. They're choosing not to get anything back with the Bloomer. They're going to play the swamp and go for Shangfa here. So we can close their hand. We know about the Shangfa. We knew about the Shangfa coming into this. They're going to skip our next combat and just make a knight here. Very, very sketchy situation. We will draw. Sporeback Jargah is a very good hit here because we can just eat the Sporeback Jargah in our bin. So guarantee that we get back a Sporeback Jargah. And pass. And there's nothing that they currently have that can just, interrupt the current Jargah. And if we could kill one of these planeswalkers, that puts us in a position of suddenly being able to forget their names, strip all of those walkers out of the deck. Was really, really hoping our Path of Phynax would hit one, but no such luck. I think they were about to just go to attacks, but realized that Sinido Uptick only kills something if Reborn Lily sits in front of the knight. And I'm fine just taking damage from the knight here. I wonder if they're debating zeroing the Sinido to give like the knight +2/+2. Okay, so they're going to set up a board wipe at the end of their next turn, and they're going to uptick Sinido to shrink the Sporeback Jargah. So no abilities on the Jargah next turn. Oh, not another Earthly Penchants. Oh, God. And that's going to be not only a draw engine with the Penchants, but also a value engine with Data Weaver, depending. And they have land, so let's mark off some of these. One unknown in hand. This is just a nightmare. And they are going to wipe the board here. There's no getting around that. The one gain of Shangfa wiping the board here is we are going to get to forget their names, flashback, and hit the Data Weaver. So we will draw. Jack is a huge draw. Oh my goodness, Jack is a huge draw. Here's what we can do. So we play Jack, we uptick Jack. They are put in an awkward position of having to choose between Sinido hit Jack to remove Jack's abilities, or Sinido hit Sporeback Jargah so we don't get a card off of it. But if we don't get a card off of Jargah, then we get to shoot them from board getting wiped. Jack -3 is bad here. It's just unquestionably bad. Let's pay 3 or pay 4, play Jack. Showed up at a good time, friend. So we need to move top cards to graveyard. Been Chronicle and Temple of Origins. So we do ping them for 1 because we milled a land. Chronicle is number 2 of 3 because we had 1 exiled earlier. And we'll pass. So the one downside with the damage that we're dealing right now with Sinido sitting in play is Sinido will eventually equalize life totals. They're going to hit Spiky. No! So that's going to sit under this Earthly Penchants forever. They do not ever cast Spiky here with Data Weaver because Shangfa just kills it at end of turn. Okay, they play Swamp as land for turn. They're going to Sinido and keep Sporeback Jargah as a 4/4. So they're more concerned about Jargah getting us a card than Jack dealing them some damage, which makes sense. You know, Sinido is going to be able to equalize life totals. Shipping everything at Jack. We're gonna block like this to ensure Data Weaver doesn't die, because we do not want them to be able to zero Shengfa on Data Weaver. Okay, so they're gonna uptick Shengfa, make another knight. Okay, so board gets wiped. I gain 1 and shoot them for 1 with Jack. Then I'll untap and draw. Phoenix's Touch is great here, actually, because we know they have only 1 card in hand. So let's lead on the Phoenix's Touch. It's a Sinido. So we hit them with Jack as well, so that's 2 damage. Tragically, them binning a Sinido here does not change too much. It does mean that Shengfa could 0 on Sinido here, which is a little awkward. I'm gonna downtick Jack to oh, whoops. Wrong counter. Downtick Jack to 1. So we each sacrifice a creature. Permanent cards aren't going to graveyard here, so I'm not going to get to do too much, but I'm going to just get to rebuy the Jargah here. And in the interest of them not being able to Shengfa the Data Weaver here, I am going to just close their library and forget their names, the Data Weaver. So at the very least, Earthly Penchants will not be drawing them my cards. It will only be stealing my cards out of my deck. So that's another 4. Don't like how much life I'm gaining them, unfortunately, because that Sinido is going to downtick eventually here. And it is all for naught. I think we're still just dead. We're sitting at 35, but our opponent is going to Sinido here, which is going to add our life totals up to 49 and split it, so we both go to 24. Because 49 rounded down would need to be the lowest, the next nearest even number, so 48. 48 halved is 24 for each of us. So they gain 12, we lose 13. And then they just get to keep upticking Shengfa, swinging with gates, and we are up shit creek without a paddle. Just not very aggressive hands, but not hands I really wanted to pitch. And I really should have, like, this is on me for the opening hands I kept more than anything, I think. You know, I got a little greedy with my opening hands, but this is not a matchup where I could have afforded to. I needed to just go for faster opening hands, but I didn't. And we're seeing the consequences of that choice. You know, there's a world where we can still claw our way out of this. Chronicle of Extinction does do a lot of work, but we really don't have the ability to flash it back right now. So, you know, we need 3 more lands to flash it back, and our opponent has been hitting all of the land drops in this matchup. They play Lay Shard for turn. They could crack it here, but there's no guarantee they hit something super important. In fact, there is a guarantee they don't hit something super important. The one thing that is nice is we're currently just dealing with the current situation here. So they're gonna down tick, make us lose the Jargah we just bought back on the Sinido. This is good because it doesn't why are they losing 3? Oh yeah, they're paying 2 life and they're taking 1 from Jack. Drawback of not just killing Jack before doing anything else. So Jack is gonna die. He does see himself. But it's too little too late. That Sinido 0 is just gonna wipe us off the map here. And it's not in my opponent's interest to animate gates to the underworld before they Sinido. So the only things of note that my opponent's drawing to are more planeswalkers. Contest coordinator, okay. What will they reveal? It's very possible they just reveal planes here. I'm trying to think what I'm hoping to draw here. A Chronicle would be nice, actually. We Edict Planeswalker. No, I don't want to Edict a Planeswalker first. I think I do want Chronicle to just be like, clear these Knights by us time. It's very possible they're looking at like Shangfa versus Sinido here. So if they take a Sinido, maybe there is a world where we just flashback, forget their names on the Sinido and bin. They're taking a Shangfa. So the dream here is what is the dream here? We make them discard this Shangfa, and then we draw a path, a Phoenix's Touch, and then we forget their names, the Shangfa. Second Jack. It just does nothing though because of Sinido. I mean, we play it first, if nothing else. Set counters to 3. Disestablishmentarianism, which is just going to get pitched to Sinido here. But what if we... What if we just Edict again? Clear a Knight, pick back up Sporeback Jargah? I kind of like that. Yeah, so they lose the contest coordinator, and then I'm going to get back the Sporeback Jargah again. Then pass. Hand attack wasn't going to work anyways because they could just Lay Shard, draw something to not lose the Shangfa. So they take Chronicle. 1 card deeper than I needed it to be. Really needed that on top there. I do think this is the turn that my opponent is going to -3 Sinido. Because -3 Sonido, 38 plus 6 is 44. We both go to 22. Yeah. Yeah, so I lose 16, they gain 16. This is the power of Earthly Pensions, quite honestly. Earthly Pensions and Planeswalkers, just so good. I think a lot of the rest of this game is kind of just a formality more than anything else. They hit another Contest Coordinators, which is likely to hit another Planeswalker. They're going to just hit a Lay Shard. So we have a perfect, like a semi-perfect bit of information about what the like cards in their library are. Because they haven't played a land yet this turn. And they're just going to play the Lay Shard. Excuse me. Yeah, I think this game's just over. we're dragging it out for the sake of seeing what we can do here, but the most likely scenario here at this point, in terms of us being able to win, is our opponent gets their other two Earthly Pensions in play, starts drawing 4 cards a turn, and they deck themselves. But that's not happening. We're taking 9 here. We already took 16, so this is 25 damage to us. They gain 19. So 25 damage to us, they gain 19. That is a 44-point life total swing. They swung life totals as much life as we had combined. That is insane. So we will untap. We will draw. We do get a spiky. That's not nothing. Can we make that work for us? We can certainly try. So let's play spiky. Eating may very well just be Forest Temple of Origins. And then black, green, spend a black and a green to disestablishmentarianism. And I'm going to do this over playing the Jargah here because I do just want to get this Earthly Pensions off the board. And these are gone. And we pass. And we're very dead. Don't worry. They're swinging 13 at us. In fact, if they pump with Sonido targeting Contest Coordinator, they're swinging 15 at us. If they can remove Spiky, we're just dead. But fortunately, their deck is bad at doing hand attack. Or sorry, bad at doing board removal, rather. We lose Jargah because they're down ticking Sonido. They lose a Plains. They could just pay the life here, honestly. They're going to not pay the life, draw with Lay Shard. I think not paying the life is reasonable, but I also think it doesn't matter. Oh my god, they hit another Earthly Pensions. Doesn't matter at this point, but it's frustrating nonetheless. Oh, this card is the bane of my existence right now. It was like the worst card for me to have to stare down in this matchup. The Planeswalkers are rough. The Planeswalkers are really rough, as evidenced by the fact that they have just cleaned my clock 2 games in a row. But the Earthly Pensions is the real headache, and yeah, I'm always blocking this. I'm always just killing the contest coordinator because the rest just don't matter. Um, Barring anything big being the draw here, like a Chronicle of Extinction, I am just going to... Yeah, barring a Chronicle of Extinction off the top, I'm probably just going to forget their names on my own Chronicle here. Just as a sort of like tap concede. Just accept my fate. I'll untap and draw. That is the third Jack, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah, this game's over. I do technically have to search and shuffle. And I'll gain 3, and then draw. I'll play Temple Tapped. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm just calling it there. Whew. Split Moon is a master of these like brutally grindy white black and very black leaning integrate control decks. And that just kind of really shows, you don't need many powerful integrate cards for the integrate package to kind of take over, and don't ever let yourself think that Data Weaver's nerf limiting it to 1 card a turn is bad. This card is amazing still. I know, and the reason I say this is because I got fooled by this. I convinced myself that Data Weaver was a lot worse after the nerf, but no, it is still very good. So yeah, unfortunate ends to the story here, taken out by white-black control at the end of round 4. So it's going to be the end of our GP run. We'll get into the final thoughts in just a moment here. Little bummed to have the run end, but this is going to be a tough month anyways with a 5-round Swiss. And with us losing round 1, and not only that, but a round 1 opponent being 3-0 going into this round, so they only needed 1 more win to get into Top Cut anyways, meaning there was always a chance we could have to fight them again if we got there. A lot of things were just kind of stacking up for this tournament to be rough, even if we could carry it on. So I will see you all in the wrap-up.